Scroll no more and listen up. Because this is the sister wives surprise that no one predicted. Picture this: peaceful blue waves, giggles ringing out on a high-end cruise liner, and Janelle Brown beaming like she hasn't smiled in ages. To the outside world, it's just a typical break. But to those familiar with her tale, this moment is more than palm trees and ocean swells. This wasn't a vacation. It wasn't cocktails at sunset or sightseeing in foreign ports. No. This was a declaration. A pivot. A loud message from Janelle Brown herself that she's had it with being second to anyone, particularly Kody. And here's the twist. That cruise, that innocuous vacation, produced a reveal that has left fans, relatives, and even critics totally stunned. Because what Janelle chose on those waves is going to change the Sister Wives universe forever. Stop scrolling and buckle up. Because what I'm about to say isn't just another Sister Wives update. This, right here, might be one of the most shocking, freeing, and game-changing moments in the show's history. Imagine this for a moment. The sea, blue and bottomless, it seems, to the horizon. A high-end cruise liner cutting through waves, raucous laughter pouring from packed decks, music vibrating from night parties, and happiness radiating on the faces of all on board. Somewhere aboard that liner, leaning over the railing with wind in her hair, is Janelle Brown. To the tourists surrounding her, she's just another vacationing woman, living the trip of a lifetime. But to us, to the millions of people who have been following her tale for more than a decade, this is everything. Because that smile on her face isn't about sunshine and cocktails, that smile is freedom. And the second Janelle stepped onto that boat, she wasn't enrolling in a week of R&R. She was making a statement. A statement to Kody. A statement to her family. And perhaps, even more so, a statement to herself. This wasn't a cruise, it was a proclamation. For years, Janelle has been seen as the steady one, the calm in the storm of polygamy. When Christine's frustrations boiled over, when Meri's pain grew louder, when Robin took center stage, Janelle stayed steady, practical, patient, almost invisible at times. Fans respected her strength, but they also worried, was she sacrificing her happiness for the sake of peace? Well, not anymore. Because when Janelle got on that cruise ship, everything changed. For the first time in years, she wasn't being presented as Kody's wife. She wasn't being eclipsed by Robin's feelings or Christine's dramatic departure. She wasn't seeking permission. She was merely Janelle. And let me tell you, the world took notice. Social media went wild the moment the first photos emerged. Fans posted things like, "She looks so radiant, so alive. This is the Janelle we've been waiting to see. Kody must be losing his mind right now." And they weren't wrong. Because while Janelle was posting snapshots of herself under glowing sunsets, walking the decks with confidence, and laughing like a woman free from years of emotional weight, Kody was back home, and he wasn't happy. But let's pause there, because this cruise was never about him. This was about her. On that boat, Janelle wasn't lugging the baggage of decades of struggle to find her place inside Kody's tighter and tighter family definition. She wasn't walking on eggshells around Robin's feelings, or supporting Meri while quietly seething herself. She wasn't justifying every decision. For the first time in a very long time, Janelle was having something radical. Life on her own terms. She was among strangers who did not know her as the second wife, or the practical one. They did not view her with pity or judgment. They did not perceive her through the filter of a polygamous family broken. They simply perceived her as Janelle, warm, witty, smart, resilient. And they knew it. Her laughter was larger. Her smile grew wider. Her shoulders felt lighter. Which is why this moment was so important. This cruise wasn't about the ports of call, the shows, or the food. It was about taking back an identity. It was about declaring, "I am more than Kody. I am worth more than polygamy. I am enough." And here's the best part that makes fans get goosebumps. Janelle didn't need to utter a single word to prove her point. Each photo, each video clip, each fan encounter, her happiness was louder than any admission could ever possibly be. This was Janelle's silent defiance. She didn't stand on a podium. She didn't pen a tell-all. She didn't yell or slam doors. She got on a boat, stayed present in each moment, and allowed the world to see her radiate. And that soft, elegant gesture, it was stronger than any shouting down. Because while Kody was holding tighter and tighter to control, Janelle was demonstrating, without words, that she had already released. Let's not forget, this comes after months of mounting tension. Fans watched her clash with Kody on screen, in some of the most heated arguments we've ever seen between them. Remember that explosive moment when she told him he wasn't going to tell her how to live her life? That wasn't just a slip. That was foreshadowing. The cruise was the next chapter in that defiance. And here's where it gets even more intriguing. This wasn't merely a vacation off on a whim. This was deliberate. This was symbolic. And it held some weight that fans knew the instant they saw it. When Christine left, she left her choice to be known. When Meri remained, she chose in silence. But Janelle, she's playing her own game. Deft, strategic, almost poetic. The cruise was not a farewell letter, but it was the start, a start of independence, of self-discovery, of writing her own narrative. And if you think I'm being over the top, just look at the fallout. Fans are not just wondering where she is or what she's doing. They're wondering what this signifies. Does that mean she's finished with Kody for good? Does that mean she's getting ready to roll out something new? Something all about her short and sweet fingers? Does that mean Sister Wives is going to transform from being Kody's tale to being Janelle's? Because here's the thing. This cruise has done more to ignite fan theories and speculation than any other point since Christine's official departure. And that's saying something. But leave you with this. I will. Because this is where the true strength of Janelle's cruise lies. Imagine belonging to a family where for years your value was determined by how well you fit into another person's system. Imagine being compared, dismissed, or bypassed constantly with someone always in the center of attention. Imagine biting your tongue, playing the part, and sacrificing your own happiness to maintain peace. And then one day, you get on a boat, you smell the ocean air, you drop that burden, you smile, not because someone told you to, but because you're finally free. That's Janelle's story. That's why this cruise isn't merely a cruise. It's a symbol, a turning point, a line in the sand. And if you're thinking this is where the tale ends, well, think again. Because that cruise was just the start. What followed is even larger. And it's something that's going to rock the Sister Wives universe to its core. For years Janelle had been the practical wife. She was the voice of reason, when feelings were running high. The one who appeared to simply bear it as Kody's focus increasingly became turned toward Robin. Patience, however, has limits. And Janelle hit hers. Leading up to the cruise, audiences already saw the change. She was more confident. She spoke differently. And when she finally got on that ship, far from the cameras and far from the heavy looming cloud of Kody's perpetual drama, something snapped. Friends she took on the cruise with her said she was radiant, glowing in a way that fans had not seen in years. For once she was not being heralded as Kody's wife. She was just Janelle, herself. Social media erupted in theories. Some believed she was just taking a break. Others claimed this was symbolic. A public statement of independence. But everyone was in agreement on one thing: Janelle had never seemed freer. And this is what made it potent. This wasn't merely about relaxation. It was about discovering herself, free from the din. It was about learning that she didn't require other people's validation to be contented. When you initially hear the term cruise, what do you think? Sunbathing, dancing, buffets, laughter, relaxation. But for Janelle Brown, this wasn't another vacation. This wasn't about sipping alcoholic beverages or doing some shopping. No, this was about change. This was about rebirth. Fans have seen Janelle silently tolerate the highs and lows of polygamy for years. She was the pragmatic one, the wife who stored her feelings away, the woman who worked on raising children, budgeting and maintaining harmony. While Christine and Meri tended to wear their hearts on their sleeves, Janelle appeared to conduct herself like a rock, level-headed, consistent, never insisting on the limelight. But here's the reality. Being steady for all the other people eventually takes a toll. And fans could see that toll appearing on Janelle's face these past few seasons. Her eyes looked fatigued. Her voice became edgier in fights. The patience that used to characterize her began to fray. The cruise, therefore, wasn't merely travel. It was healing. It was an opportunity to escape a pattern that had controlled her for years. Picture yourself standing on the deck of a cruise ship, the ocean winds whipping against your skin, the sun on your face, and not one reminder of your daily strife encumbering you. That moment was electrifying for Janelle. For the first time in what had felt like an eternity, she wasn't Kody's wife. She wasn't the second wife of a harem marriage. She wasn't involved in a narrative about who loved whom more or received more attention. She was simply Janelle, her own person among strangers who didn't know anything about the twisted soap of sister wives. And that anonymity, that was liberation. After living under someone else's authority, even little things, like deciding where to have dinner on the boat, or whom to sit with at a comedy club, feel like acts of freedom. Janelle could laugh without questioning whether Kody would approve. She could unwind without Robin's hovering specter hanging over her head. She could dance, sing, or remain quiet, and none of it was criticized. That liberty, that feeling of being unmoored, was redemptive. For longtime Sister Wives viewers, it's obvious that Janelle has carried a secret burden for years. She wasn't merely navigating her own relationship with Kody, she was navigating the feelings of everyone around her. Consider it. Christine felt ignored. Meri felt abandoned. Robin felt entitled. And Kody, he was frustrated that nobody obeyed him. Amidst all the turmoil stood Janelle, frequently acting as referee, frequently biting her tongue, frequently suppressing her own desires. So when she boarded that ship, it wasn't so much about getting on vacation, it was about leaving that burden behind, even if only for a short time. And the radiance fans noticed in her pictures. That was the radiance of a woman who, for the first time in years, wasn't carrying other people's burdens. The response online was swift. On Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, fans couldn't stop talking about how different Janelle looked. She looks lighter, like a weight has been lifted off her shoulders. I've never seen her smile so genuinely, it's beautiful. This is the happiest I've seen her in over a decade of watching Sister Wives. And not only were fans admiring her joy, they were relating to it. They recognized in Janelle's transformation an echo of their own experiences. Women who had lingered too long in poisonous relationships, mothers who had sacrificed for their families at the expense of themselves, people who had lost touch with freedom until they finally regained it. Janelle became more than a reality TV star. She became an icon of hope on that cruise. There is something beautiful about Janelle selecting a cruise for her escape. The ocean has always symbolized freedom, intrigue, and change. Sailors speak of how the sea transforms you, how the vastness reminds you of the infinitesimal nature of your troubles, and how the horizon beckons you to something greater. For Janelle, being out there wasn't about a vacation, it was about vision. The ocean went on forever, reminding her that her life could go on forever, beyond the confines of polygamy. The waves whispered in her ear that she didn't need to remain stuck in the same patterns. The sunsets colored across the sky reminded her that endings can be beautiful beginnings. And fans sensed that symbolism. Seeing her on the boat, they knew this wasn't merely a vacation. This was about healing. This was about entering into a greater narrative. Another reason this cruise was so important was due to Janelle's individual health journey. In the last 2 years, she's spoken more openly about prioritizing fitness, wellness, and self-care. This vacation felt like an extension of that process. On the ship, she wasn't just smiling. She was radiating confidence. Confidence in her body, in her choices, in her direction. For a woman who had spent years trying to mold herself into someone else's expectations, this was a declaration. I'm choosing me now. Each laugh, each photo, each escapade on that ship was a part of her healing tale. She wasn't merely healing emotionally. She was flourishing physically, mentally, and spiritually. Of course, the tragedy of it all is that Kody likely viewed this cruise as an affront. In his universe, independence is tantamount to rejection. If a wife has the audacity to be happy outside of him, it's equated to betrayal. But what Kody didn't understand is that Janelle's happiness wasn't about him whatsoever. It wasn't about revenge. It wasn't about winning a point. It was about finally being alive for herself. And that's why people supported her. They weren't cheering for a trip. They were cheering for a woman shattering chains that can't be seen. Christine exited with fanfare, and fans praised her for her bravery. But Janelle took another approach. She did not exit in a huff. She did not give dramatic speeches. She got on a cruise, took a couple of photos, and let her happiness speak for itself. That silent revolution spoke 1,000 words. It informed the world that change does not always come with fireworks. Sometimes it comes in the silent moments, on a boat, out at sea amidst laughter and sunsets. And sometimes it's those quiet revolutions that move the world most. You see, this cruise meant something because it wasn't a vacation. It was a turning point. It was Janelle coming to terms with herself, taking back her identity, and reminding the world that she's more than a supporting actress in Kody's saga. It was her saying, "Without words, I am strong. I am free. I am enough." And the world listened. Now let's talk about the other side of this story. Kody. Because while Janelle was sipping on tropical drinks and finding peace under the sun, Kody was fuming. Sources close to the family told us that he didn't enjoy this cruise one bit. For him, it was a betrayal. Why? Because Kody is accustomed to being the center of the universe. He's accustomed to control. And here was Janelle, not only living her life without him, but relishing it. Keep in mind, this follows years of tense bickering between them. Janelle has spoken up for herself. She's called him out and even walked away from his lectures on camera. That demure, submissive vibe she had, gone. So when Kody saw Janelle doing well, it wasn't necessarily jealousy. It was fear. Fear that he was losing another wife. Just after Christine had already departed. And fans weren't shy. Online comments flowed, "Kody's not the sun. The world doesn't revolve around him. Good for Janelle. She deserves this happiness. If Kody's angry, that just shows she's doing the right thing." Even Christine, who's long moved on with her own bliss, was said to be rooting for Janelle from the sidelines. Meri remained silent, mired in her own tangled love affair with Kody. And Robin, well, viewers could only wonder how frustrated she must have been observing the family situation further deteriorate. Now, here's where the story really gets hot. Because while Janelle was giggling on the open water, basking in sunsets and relearning her freedom, there was another person who wasn't laughing. Someone who, behind closed doors, was seething with frustration, bitterness, and perhaps even terror. That someone was Kody Brown. You see, Kody's the center of his universe. For years, he's been the center of gravity for the Sister Wives family. The leader, the decision maker, the man whose stamp of approval was always necessary. When Christine defied him and left, it rocked him. When Meri stepped away, it hurt his pride. But when Janelle, his woman who had always been his practical partner, the one he believed would never leave him, boarded that cruise, and seemed happier without him than she ever seemed standing alongside him, that hurt more than anyone could have guessed. Sources within the family have said that Kody was not pleased about this cruise. In fact, the word used was disrespected. To him, Janelle's choice to go on this trip wasn't just about fun, it was a personal insult. He reportedly felt left out, betrayed, and sidelined. Why? Because in Kody's mind, loyalty is measured by proximity. If you're not orbiting around him, you're rebelling against him. Imagine his frustration watching Janelle post smiling photos online while fans cheered her on. For Kody, that wasn't just Janelle enjoying herself. It was Janelle challenging his authority in front of the entire world. And if there's one thing Kody hates, it's losing control of the narrative. We've already seen hints of Kody's temper in past seasons. Who can forget all those angry confrontations with Janelle, in which his anger got the better of him, and he accused her of infidelity, of disobeying him, of not having the family first as Robin did. Those episodes were raw, ugly, and indelible. And they prepared us for how he would react to this cruise. Because when Kody saw Janelle smiling without him, it wasn't a vacation photo. It was proof she didn't need him anymore. And for a man whose ego rests on needing to be needed, that was crippling. Behind the camera, sources report that he snapped, telling Janelle she wasn't a priority, accusing her of selfishness, and even threatening to leave the family behind. Reality? Fans weren't fooled. They knew this had nothing to do with. Of course, Kody wasn't the only one who picked up on Janelle's new glow. The other wives reacted, each one revealing something about the cracks in the family. Christine, who's already moved on from the marriage and living her own new best life, was reportedly nothing but supportive. Fans envision her supporting Janelle from afar, perhaps even sending her texts of encouragement, because Christine was the one who first took the plunge, and she knows all too well how empowering it feels to finally put yourself first. Meri, on the other hand, seemed more complicated. She's been stuck in limbo for years, emotionally distant from Kody but still unwilling, or perhaps afraid to fully walk away. For her, Janelle's cruise must have been a mirror, reflecting the freedom she could have if she just let go. Fans speculate that Meri's silence speaks volumes, that deep down she's torn between admiration and envy. Robyn? Well, her fans don't need much imagination to surmise what she would do. As the favorite wife, the one who has always come to her husband's defense, Robyn probably viewed Janelle's independence as a threat, not merely to Kody's ego, but to the very delicate edifice of the family itself. And if there is one thing that Robyn doesn't want, it's for the cracks in the family to grow wide enough to never be mended. Guess what? Those cracks are already chasms. If Kody believed the public would be on his side, he was sadly mistaken. Followers took to social media with their thoughts, and nearly every last one of them was rooting for Janelle. Kody gets more bitter every season, and Janelle gets freer with each passing day. This is what happens when you neglect a woman's value for so long. Before long she finds she can do without you. Kody may pout all day, but Janelle is doing great. And the punchline is this: the fans didn't merely praise Janelle, they scolded Kody's expected response. They accused him of being controlling, insecure, and incapable of dealing with confident women. And the more the fans cheered for Janelle, the lonelier Kody appeared. Kody quote: "S irritation wasn't solely about Janelle's trip. It was about what the trip symbolized. For years, his patriarchal rule in the family had never been challenged. But now, step by step, the women whom he believed would always stand by him were drifting away. Christine departed and created a new life. Meri pulled away, and Janelle was smiling on cruise ships in happiness without him. That left Robyn completely by his side. And fans have noted that Kody appears more reliant on her than ever. But even that dependence doesn't address the larger issue. His formerly powerful plural family is disintegrating around him, and he doesn't know how to prevent it. On television, Kody has frequently attempted to spin the narrative. He portrays himself as the victim, the misinterpreted patriarch who merely desired respect and loyalty. He blames the wives for ingratitude, for failing to value his sacrifices. But behind closed doors, insiders indicate his rage is much coarser. He has been known to lash out, bemoan disloyalty, and ask why the women do not place him ahead of Robyn the way she does. The cruise only made that chasm wider. In public, he will likely attempt to play it down, shrug it off, or spin it into an apology for family priorities. Behind the scenes, however, it's consuming him. Because each time there's a picture of Janelle smiling without him, it's evidence that his grip is loosening, and once grip is lost, Kody has no idea who he is. Now, here's why Kody's response is so significant. It's not about Janelle, it's about what her autonomy could ignite in others. If Janelle can survive without Kody, what does that say about Meri? Might she finally gain the strength to do the same? And if Christine and Janelle are both creating happier lives outside of the marriage, what does that communicate to the kids and to viewers? Kody's power is crumbling, not due to a single large uprising, but due to a series of domino-like events. Christine began it. Janelle continued it. And if Meri follows suit, Kody can be left with just one wife, Robyn. The very thing he claimed he never desired, monogamy. And fans are taking notice. At its heart, Kody's response to the cruise reveals something larger about the whole sister wives narrative. This isn't about one guy and four wives anymore. It's about power, control, autonomy, and what happens when women who have been silenced for decades start speaking up. Kody is accustomed to being the sun to which all the other planets revolve around. But now, the planets are breaking away, spinning off into their own galaxies, and he's left trying to get even a single one to orbit around him. The cruise wasn't a vacation. It was an inciting incident, a sign of things to come. And Kody's irate, insecure response only served to confirm what viewers already suspected: his control of this family is eroding. And there's no turning back now. So, the million-dollar question is, what's next? Will Kody double down on control, grasping at straws to reel Janelle back in? Or will he get the message that his patriarch reign is done? Because one thing is for sure, Janelle's cruise wasn't all palm trees and sunsets. It was a liberation declaration. And Kody's wrathful response? That's just gasoline on the fire that's torching the old sister-wives dynamic, brick by brick. And when the smoke clears, the fans are left to wonder, will there be anything remaining of the family Kody once said he led? Here's where things come full circle in a jaw-dropping way. Post-cruise, Janelle didn't come home with memories. She came home with clarity. In an interview after her trip, she shared something that shut down all critics and validated what months of whispers from fans had speculated. The cruise provided her with the space to think deeply about her life, and she came to the realization she didn't want to continue living under the same cycle. And then the bombshell: Janelle admitted she was moving on by herself. She wasn't looking for Kody's permission. She wasn't going to continue to pretend everything was okay. She was choosing herself. She didn't leave it at that, though. Janelle gave subtle hints toward new ventures, things that had nothing to do with Kody or polygamy. She mentioned getting back into her health journey, her business ventures, and creating something that was all her own. She may even tread more directly into the spotlight. Perhaps a book, perhaps a lifestyle project, perhaps even her own show. Whatever it is, this much is certain: Janelle is no longer bound by rules from Kody. And the smile on her face as she told them so, that smile said it all to fans. Here's where things get really shocking. Because while everyone assumed Janelle's cruise was all about a bit of fun in the sun, the reality is, it was all so much more. That vacation was the door opener for something greater, something braver, and something nobody, even Kody, could have seen coming. And the reveal? It's making shockwaves in the sister wives world. At first glance, Janelle's cruise seemed to be nothing but a woman taking a break. Smiling selfies on the deck, group photos with friends, glittering water in the background, warm sun on her face. But behind those photographs was a tale of revelation. Because that cruise wasn't relaxation, it was revelation. Friends close to Janelle report that the vacation provided her with something she hadn't experienced in years: clarity. Being away from the Brown family drama revealed to her what life could be like without being in a state of constant bickering, without living on eggshells, without attempting to appease a man who never really recognized her value. On that trip, Janelle started to dream of a life on her own terms. Not the rules of Kody, not the drama of the family. On her own terms. But here's where it gets really interesting. Sources say that on the cruise, Janelle wasn't simply sunning herself on deck chairs. She was sitting down in conversations with folks who excited her. Women who had started businesses, women who had escaped toxic relationships, women who had remade themselves after they were broken up. For Janelle, those stories were like gasoline. They were reminders that what's done is done, but it's never too late to begin anew. Never too late to create a new book. And as she heard those stories, something within her changed. Old Janelle, the shy, compliant partner, was disappearing. In her stead, a new Janelle was emerging. Fans are aware that Janelle has always been pragmatic. Whereas Christine had her heart on her sleeve, Janelle had an eye on money, security, and establishing a solid foundation. Yet even that pragmatism was pushed to the limit in recent seasons. Kody's questionable choices, such as investing money in Robyn's mansion, while other wives went wanting, frustrated Janelle. She frequently spoke up about needing autonomy, about desiring her own financial security. And now, that cruise appears to have given her the last nudge. Rumors are circulating. Janelle is busily working behind the scenes, looking for ways to grow her income, invest in herself, and fully step into financial freedom. For years she was bound to Kody's choices. Now she's prepared to be bound to no one. Plus, it wasn't money alone on Janelle's agenda. It was community. There, among laughter and friendship and acceptance aboard that ship, Janelle understood something tremendous. She didn't have to accept loneliness anymore. For so long she waited in a marriage where she was emotionally ignored. She persisted, hoping that Kody would notice her, appreciate her, and meet her halfway. He never did. The cruise made her remember that connection is out there. True connection. Whether it's friendship, family, or even romance, Janelle doesn't have to live on the sidelines. She can select people who will select her back. And viewers are sure this is the bigger reveal. That Janelle isn't leaving Kody. She's moving toward an entire different group of people who actually support her. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Lots of fans have been buzzing with one big question. Did Janelle find somebody on that cruise? Although there's no confirmation, rumors online are that she might have developed a close bond with someone who appreciated her in ways Kody never did. Romance, friendship, new business partner. The possibilities are unclear, but the rumors alone have fans enthralled. Even the potential for Janelle to fall in love again has shaken Kody and delighted Sister Wives fans. After all, Christine was happy with David Woolley, showing life after Kody is not only possible, it's lovely. Is Janelle next? Regardless of whether romance is in her future, one thing is absolutely clear. Janelle is finished living in Kody's shadow. For years she was the family's quiet backbone, balancing books, backing up the children, and accepting Kody's mood swings. But when the pandemic struck, and Kody clamped down with rigid rules that only Robyn appeared to adhere to, Janelle had finally had enough. She confronted him, defended her children, and would not be shut down. That bravery hasn't faded. It's intensified. The cruise was testimony to that strength. In getting on that boat, Janelle wasn't simply going on a vacation. She was stepping aboard a new chapter of her life. One in which Kody doesn't call the shots. Fans on social media have been quick to comment on the symbolism of the cruise. Consider this: a boat sailing away from shore, leaving behind what once was and charting its own course in open seas. Is there a better metaphor for Janelle's journey? The ocean symbolizes freedom. The boat symbolizes a fresh start. The journey symbolizes Janelle's bravery to set sail into the unknown. It's not vacation. It's a statement. One of the largest aspects of Janelle's tale is her children. She's always been a devoted mother, fiercely loyal to her children, particularly when tensions with Kody seeped into their lives. When she was on the cruise, according to reports, she spoke highly of her children, how much she is proud of their self-reliance and their strength. And here's the key thing: her kids support her. Unlike Kody, they recognize her strength. They root for her independence. They urge her to escape the old ways and live large. This endorsement provides Janelle with the confidence to proceed. She's not walking out on her own. She's walking with the love and acceptance of her children. And that makes her invincible. So, what is this so-called bigger reveal that had everyone abuzz? Here it is. The cruise wasn't all about play. It was about freedom. It was about Janelle coming to understand that she doesn't need to wait for someone else's approval in order to be happy. She doesn't have to continue to play a part in Kody's failing business dynasty. She can create her own. The surprise is that Janelle isn't leaving Kody. She's leaving her oppression. She's seeking new experiences, discovering new tribes, and perhaps even new romance. She's showing everyone on that show that it's never too late to put yourself first. Anytime news broke about the deeper significance of Janelle's cruise, fans blew up on the internet. Social media became a sea of support, with comments such as "Janelle looks like a brand new woman. This is the glow of freedom. Christine led us forward. And now Janelle is continuing." Yes. The drama is not just about Janelle's love life, it's about what her transformation symbolizes. To viewers, she's not merely a sister wife. She's a beacon of strength, determination, and self-respect. Janelle says announcement paves the way for dramatic storylines in the future. Will she formally break up with Kody, like Christine? Will she reveal a new business opportunity, or perhaps a new romance? Will Meri finally muster the strength to do the same, leaving Kody really and truly alone with Robyn? The responses are still coming in, but this much is sure: the power dynamic in the Brown family has forever been altered. Janelle's cruise broke the foundation, and her larger reveal could quite possibly take the entire house of cards down with it. And that leaves us sitting right here, on the precipice. Janelle's cruise ignited rumors. The bigger reveal is turning everything upside down. But what's next? A new bold life? A surprise announcement? or a step that has Kody running around trying to salvage what little family he has left. One thing's certain, the ripples Janelle created on that cruise are only intensifying. And the storm brewing for Kody, he'll never be able to outrun it. So what is all this? Let's take a step back and consider the bigger picture. Christine has already split. She's doing great. Janelle recently announced independence. Meri remains aloof, and fans wonder how much longer she will remain. That leaves Kody and Robin, holding on to whatever is remaining of a family once described as impenetrable. This cruise was not just a voyage. It was the start of something new, not only for Janelle but also for the whole show. The viewers are now waiting with bated breath, hoping that this independence will lead to more surprises. Will Meri end up taking the same route finally? Will Christine and Janelle start collaborating on different projects? And most of all, what does this do for Sister Wives overall? Will the show transition from being about Kody's plural marriage to being about the women and their strength and independence? The truth is, Janelle's cruise was a turning point. It was symbolic of freedom, healing, and self-love. It reminded fans why they connected with her in the first place. She's not loud, she's not flashy, but when she makes a move, it's powerful. And as viewers were left with the question, was this cruise the final nail in the coffin for Janelle and Kody's marriage? Or was it only the start of something even greater? Something that would rewrite all we thought we knew about the Sister Wives family. Now this is where the story gets its momentum. The wake of Janelle's cruise and the shocking revelation that came after. Because when a woman like Janelle makes a decision to alter her life, the ripple effects don't just reach her, but shake all the people around her. And in the case of the Brown family, the shockwaves are still being felt. So let's dissect it. What went down after the cruise, how Kody and the family are adjusting, and what could be next for Janelle and Sister Wives in general. We already know Kody wasn't happy about the cruise in the first place. But when the bigger bombshell dropped, Janelle's move toward independence, new possibilities, and even possibly a new beau, Kody's anger evolved into something much more profound. Behind closed doors, sources indicate he's been grappling with the fact that his large plural family is disintegrating quicker than he can manage. Christine lost, Janelle living happily independent of him, Meri hanging by a thread, and only Robin remaining completely with him. For a man who had constructed his identity around being a patriarch of 4 wives, this is the ultimate embarrassment. And it's not merely the marriages, it's watching his collapse live on television. Robin, the ever-loyal wife who tried to hold the family together and keep it from falling apart, is allegedly freaking out. She knows Kody relies on her more than ever these days. But she also understands that the fans perceive she is part of the problem. Most hold her responsible for the favoritism of Kody and the fractures of the family. And as Janelle ascends, Robin's anxiety increases. If another wife discovers contentment outside of Kody, the whole concept of plural marriage in the Brown family is torn apart. Robin can be left as Kody's sole partner. But what a hollow triumph is that when the rest of the clan has departed. Christine smiles on the sidelines. She knows precisely what Janelle is experiencing, because she walked down that road herself. After years of feeling ignored and undervalued, she left, and her happiness since has been impossible to ignore. Supporters surmise that Christine has been rooting for Janelle in secret, giving her pep talks and reminding her that life outside of Kody does not only exist, indeed it thrives. And now, as Christine observes Janelle make her initial daring moves towards independence, she's likely thinking finally, she gets it. Then there's Meri, always lurking in the shadows, always waiting for Kody's scraps of affection, always conflicted between fidelity to the family and her own need for love and affirmation. Janelle's bombshell leaves Meri in a difficult position. Does she finally find the strength to leave, just as Christine and perhaps now Janelle? Or does she hold on even more tightly to what little relationship she still has left with Kody, despite him making it obvious his heart is only with Robin? Fans are split. Some believe Meri will be like Janelle. Others think she'll stay connected to Kody through habit, fear, or misplaced loyalty. Either way, the freedom Janelle is embracing highlights the option Meri has been shying away from for years. The kids too have thoughts about it. We know from previous seasons Janelle's children, particularly Gabe and Garrison, had blowout battles with Kody during the pandemic. They felt abandoned, disregarded, and replaced by Kody's attention to Robyn's children. For them, Janelle's independence isn't just personal. It's vindication, it's the fact that their mother respects herself and her children enough to come out from behind Kody's shadow. And supporters think that this widening divide between Kody and the older kids will only continue to grow as Janelle steps further into her own life. Social media has been in a frenzy since Janelle's cruise and announcement. Supporters aren't just cheering her on. Now they're calling for answers. They demand to know, is Janelle officially finished with Kody? Did she find someone new? Will she take a page out of Christine's book and remarry? And most importantly, what does this all say about the future of the Sister Wives show itself? Every snapshot Janelle shares, every mysterious caption, every online smile is analyzed for hints. Viewers feel like they're part of the narrative, waiting for the next huge bombshell. Here, quote, is the thing. Janelle's cruise wasn't so much a vacation. It was a pivot in the Sister Wives storyline. For years, the tale had centered on Kody and his wives, enduring the hardships of plural marriage. But now, the narrative has changed. It's not about Kody's dominance anymore, it's about the women's liberty. Christine's flight began it. Janelle's revelation furthered it. And the symbolism is strong. Women who were previously tied by religion, tradition, and allegiance are now embracing independence, happiness, and self-esteem. Another interesting aspect of the aftermath is Janelle's possible business opportunities. Followers are aware that she has worked on health and wellness projects previously, but the cruise allegedly broke open doors. Networking, contacts, and ideas born on that journey can become huge possibilities for her. Picture Janelle starting her own line, publishing a book, or even having her own spin-off series. The options are limitless and viewers are clamoring for more Janelle-centered material. After all, who wouldn't tune in to see her rise from the flames of an abusive relationship and forge an empire of her own? So where is Janelle headed from here? That's the million-dollar question. Some are convinced she'll slowly step back from Kody, prioritizing her children and her self-development. Others are anticipating a big reveal, a new romance, a new venture, or even a formal separation from the Brown clan. But whatever she decides, there's no denying this one thing: Janelle has passed the point of no return. The woman who set sail on that cruise is a different woman than the one who returned. And once you've tasted freedom, you can't reattach yourself to chains. All of this has us questioning, what will the future of Sister Wives hold now? Can the show even survive if only Robyn remains by Kody's side? Will the drama shift to the women's new independent lives? Could TLC pivot the series into a story not about one man and his control, but about the women who broke free from him? Fans are already speculating about spin-offs. Christine's new marriage, Janelle's new chapter, even Meri's potential journey if she ever decides to step away. The world is wide open, and TLC realizes the women aren't watching for Kody any longer. They're watching for the women. And so we leave on a cliffhanger fit for the grandest drama television series on the air. Janelle's cruise caused a stir. Her larger revelation set a flame ablaze. And now, its aftermath has left the whole Sister Wives saga in limbo. Will Janelle formally declare her freedom? Will Kody finally confess his reign is at an end? Will Meri come and join Christine and Janelle and break free? The answers aren't here yet, but that's precisely why viewers can't help watching, can't help guessing, and can't help rooting for Janelle. Because at the end of the day, this isn't about Sister Wives. It's about strength. It's about bravery. It's about women who were instructed to remain small, now stepping into greatness. And Janelle, she's at the front of the pack. So get ready, because if this cruise was just an opening act, the waves that are heading our way next will alter the Sister Wives narrative for good. This isn't reality TV anymore. It's a revolution. So here's the bottom line. Janelle's cruise wasn't so much about sunsets and palm trees. It was about claiming back her power. It sparked a reveal that has set the stage for the next great chapter in Sister Wives history. She's choosing herself, her happiness, and her future. And fans couldn't be more excited. But what do you have to say? Is this the final farewell to Kody, or is there going to be more drama? Share your thoughts in the comments, because this tale is just getting warmer. And believe me, the ripples from this cruise are going to make themselves known for a very long time.